Ragers, my name is Maria Park, and this is Approach the Nerd. We're finally doing a comic review. I know it's been a long time coming. I love comic books. I was a military brat. We travel around a lot. I only had comics for a very long time, like 38 years. Yes, I don't look my age, but I was born in 1976, so the math adds up. Anyway, I wanted to find a series that I could talk about that wasn't extremely long, because sometimes those reviews take a long time to put up in content. And I think I found the perfect one. I am addicted to this series so far. It has 4 issues and it is called DC Comics DCEASED. It's done by Tom Taylor. If you don't know who that is, he also wrote a little comic series called Injustice that I also love. So this comic series had a very, very, very good series to compare to. And I mean, the expectations were very high. But so far, my expectations have been floored. And don't take my word for it. Let's just jump right into it. Let's start with issue 1 of DC Comics DCEASED. So at the beginning of the comic, we see that Darkseid is on Earth and the Justice League are standing off against him. And after a bit of a fight, they basically tell him to take his butt home. Darkseid, however, doesn't really seem bothered by the Justice League. As a matter of fact, he implies that he has what he came for and just leaves of his own accord. And of course, this confuses the Justice League, but they have a more pressing issue, according to Batman, who has informed the team that Cyborg has gone missing. It gets a little awkward when he then explains that he has a tracker on Cyborg, to which Flash freaks out and wants to know if he has one on them, especially Superman, and Batman is very slow to respond, which is something that Green Arrow points out. Now, Wonder Woman, being more worried about her teammate, decides to backseat how immoral Batman's tracking device on the Justice League is, and wants to know how Batman knows that Cyborg is missing. And Batman goes on to say that his tracking device has a 2 light-year radius, which means he's not even in the same galaxy as them. So next we see DCEASED, which is Darkseid's favorite lackey, trying to extract the life equation from Cyborg. But he's unable to do it without basically killing Victor. And with Darkseid having the other half of the anti-life equation, he can't risk that. So he decides to summon Black Razor, but unfortunately combining the essence of Black Razor into the anti-life equation with Cyborg causes it to be extremely corrupted. So DCEASED, being immune to the virus, quickly sends Cyborg back down to Earth, but can only stand by and watch as Darkseid goes on a rampage, destroying everything in his path. Now, from the moment Cyborg reappears on Earth, civilians are immediately infected through their phones and tablets, and becoming crazed zombie-like creatures that tear each other apart. So Superman is at the home of Big Barda and Scott Free, trying to come up with a plan to free Cyborg from Darkseid, when suddenly he hears a scream. And Superman is horrified by the image in front of him. He immediately rushes home to prevent his family from sharing the same fate, using his heat vision to blast Lois's phone out of his son's hands. Back in the Batcave, Batman has already figured out what's going on, and not only does he put up a very powerful firewall, he also sends an EMP throughout the Batcave, killing the Wi-Fi. Unfortunately, he forgot to do that with Wayne Manor. Realizing his mistake, he quickly cuts the power to the entire house. But that also means that he's not able to monitor what's going on inside the house, which is not good because Alfred is inside with Nightwing and Tim Drake, and he has no way of knowing if any of them are exposed. When he checks out the house, he finds that only Alfred was spared, and that Nightwing and Tim Drake are infected, and unfortunately, he soon is too. So yeah, Batman at this point is pretty much SOL. I mean, I know he usually has a contingency plan for everything, but it's not like he could have foresaw his partners turning zombie mode and trying to eat him. So yeah, he gets a pass on that. But in issue 2 of DCEASED, we see that Aquaman is out in the middle of the North Atlantic Ocean on a rig, asking if anyone needs help. He hears a rustling sound and goes to investigate, thinking there are people in need. But what he finds is terrifying. And with our last panel, things really aren't looking that great for the King of Atlantis. Back at Superman and Lois's apartment, Lois was able to reach her parents, and they are hiding in an underground bunker. Superman expresses his desire to go back to Smallville to check on his parents, but wants somewhere safe for his family, which Lois offers the rooftop of the Daily Planet. In the next panel, we see that Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy are sharing a very sweet moment. Harley Quinn seems a little nervous, and Poison Ivy is encouraging her, telling her that she's strong enough to go alone to accomplish whatever she set out to do, which ends up being Harley quitting Joker's organization, unaware he's infected. We next see a campsite where Green Arrow, Black Canary, and Hal Jordan have all decided to go camping, though Hal doesn't seem to be happy about it. So when he goes back to his tent, he checks his phone, which of course infects him. And now Black Canary and Green Arrow have a huge problem on their hands. A Green Lantern with all of his powers infected with the anti-life equation. Still unaware of what's happening, Canary and Arrow are forced to defend themselves when zombified Hal attacks them. And when they can't subdue him, then Canary is forced to use her canary cry at full force, killing him. And with Hal now dead, the Ring went in search for the next lantern, and decided that Black Canary was worthy. Which of course was very hard for Canary, having just murdered her friend and not really understanding why or what happened. She wanted to turn down the Ring, but suddenly Superman arrived and said they needed the power. Now back in the Batcave, Batman, now wearing Mr. Freeze's old suit to try to slow his metabolism down, makes one last call to Superman to explain what the anti-life equation is, before turning and trying to attack Alfred, which of course was a big mistake. I am so glad we are finally seeing how badass Alfred is. I've known it for years. He is so much more than a butler and glorified babysitter. This man has had time to sit back and observe everything from Justice League business to contingency plans done by Bruce Wayne. Heck, he even knows how to use the computers and arsenal in the Batcave. Alfred is badass. Now in issue 3 of DCEASED. In the first panel, we see that Alfred is now looking over his very deceased Bat family, apologizing to them for not being able to save them. He then takes off in the Bat jet, where he proceeds to start taking out the infected one by one, because it's Alfred. Meanwhile, Harley is still duking it out with a very infected Joker, and doing very well, I might add. Especially when she takes her shotgun and blasts a hole through him. With Joker dead, Harley now states that he was never any good for her, and is just about to do a victory dance when she's suddenly confronted by the very infected birds of prey. But Harley, being Harley, doesn't panic or even run from the fight. Instead, she gets her game face on, her weapons ready, and declares that it's bird hunting time. And back at the Daily Planet, Superman lets Lois know that he plans on checking on his parents, but first he's going to clear the Daily Planet of all the infected, which he does systematically, deciding not to see the infected as friends, but obstacles that needed to be removed. And we finally see the fate of our favorite ruler of the sea, as Aquaman starts attacking his own kingdom as an infected. Fortunately, Mira is able to stay off the attack, but as she's swimming away, the kingdom is covered in blood. So Superman, en route to Smallville, encounters Black Lightning, who is battling Clayface. And after helping him defeat him, he tells him to take his family to the Daily Planet and that he'll meet him there. Finally, in Smallville, he sees his mother and asks where his father, Jonathan Kent, is. To which she replies she hit him and put him in the barn. Superman enters the cellar and breaks the lock, letting his father out. We then see that Jonathan is indeed infected, and Superman has to stand by and separate his emotions because his father is now trying to get him. He then grabs his mother and heads off to Metropolis, telling her that his father is no longer there. So admit to being confused on whether or not Superman decided to go against his anti-killing motto and take out his father. I mean, Pa Kent is a zombie, so it kind of would have fit in the mold of what was happening in these issues. But looking at the image again, it kind of looks like he just kind of shoved him back into the storm cellar and then took off with Ma Kent towards Metropolis, which is fine. It just would have been kind of cool considering Alfred took out all of his sons in Bruce Manor and then went off to fight in Metropolis. So yeah, maybe a missed opportunity there. But then again, maybe Tom didn't want to have a repeat of his character in Injustice, because that's definitely something that Kal-El would have done in that series. But who knows? But now we're down to our last so far released issue of DC Comics DCeased, issue 4. At Cadmus, we see that Amanda Waller and Ray Palmer have a plan for Ray to go inside one of the infected to study it. Unfortunately, Ray gets infected, and then infects Captain Atom. Back at the Daily Planet, Green Lantern Canary expresses concern over Superman potentially becoming infected. Because, let's face it, no one wants to deal with an infected or zombified Man of Steel. Superman, however, tells him that there's nothing to worry about because he's been using his X-ray vision since the moment he figured out how the virus was transmitted. At the same time, Lois and co. figure out how to use the analog system to broadcast a message citywide, offering refuge at the Daily Planet. And the message reaches a few familiar faces. Next, we see that Mira has made it to Themyscira, where she is welcomed with open arms, and where Wonder Woman has let her know that they are ready to go to war. In Central City, Superman and Green Lantern Canary have come for both the Flash and Kid Flash, who had quarantined themselves to protect people in case they were infected. Back in Gotham, we see that Harley is having a very hard time with all of the members of the infected Birds of Prey. And just when it looks like Harley's number is up, Poison Ivy appears to save her favorite girl. And the two walk off holding hands, with Poison Ivy saying that the green will protect them. Back in Metropolis, the heroes are having to deal with an infected Giganta. With Superman not wanting to kill her, it took Cyborg's arrival to actually put her down. Then Cyborg explained that those infected with the anti-life equation were no longer human or alive. So pretty much zombies. Then we see that Alfred has arrived to pass on the bat suit to Batman's son. And then Black Lightning provides a temporary solution, which is contacts he got from his daughter Elisa. Though they will impair the hero's vision, it should protect them from the virus. And then the poop hits the fan. Wonder Woman catches a very injured Hawkgirl, and the heroes are informed that Captain Atom is not only infected, but pretty much set to blow up like an atom bomb. Superman leads the charge at trying to stop Captain Atom, but unfortunately, the heroes are just too late, and Atom explodes. And we're left wondering how much damage he actually did. And there you go, the 4 issues of DC Comics DCEASED so far. There should be 2 more coming out, and I will make a follow-up video when the last 2 are released. But what do you think? How does it compare to other comic genres like Marvel Zombies? Do you like it? Do you have any conspiracy theories or, any theories at all on how this is going to end? I have a ton, which I may also make a video about, but I wanted to keep this one a little shorter. So let me know in the comments what you think about DC Comics DCEASED. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Do you meh? And if you'd like to be signed up for jury duty, hit the subscribe button. And if you'd like to know who's next on the ballot, hit the notification bell. Until next time, I can't wait for you to approach the nerd. And if you have time, make sure to check out some of our other videos.